I went through this kind of crisis with my 13-year-old. It was, it wasn't a real crisis. It was kind of an existential crisis where his principal called me out and said, you're putting way too much focus on him, and you need to find something. You need something to do, basically, right? That challenges you, that you're afraid of. And I had this moment where I realized, oh my gosh, I've never really given myself a chance. I've never really put myself out there. I had always wanted to write a book. I'd always wanted to be a writer, and I had existed in kind of a shadow career my whole life. I owned an advertising agency, a branding agency. I'd written all these things for other people. I had shown up kind of next to my dreams for my whole life. And I realized that now it was safe for me to give myself a chance, that I had all the experience that I needed, that I was wise, that I had time, that I had a certain kind of confidence. And, once you turn 50, you kind of care a lot less, I think, about what people think of you and things like that. And it was just that I was just prime. I was just ripe for success at what I wanted to do, that it was finally my time, but that I had been living like that ship had already been sailed. And it was this realization that was shocking for me. It was almost embarrassing. And once I had it, I started to talk to other women about it, first informally, and realized that there were a ton of women who were having the same realization. And they were saying things like, at one point I went snowboarding. I didn't snowboard. I stayed in the lounge and drank martinis. So I was sitting in a lodge with a bunch of other moms of junior high and high school kids. And this woman told me, we were talking about it, and I was talking about the experience I was going through. And she said, I've always wanted to be a girls basketball coach. And I said, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you be a girls basketball coach? And she said, I don't have enough experience. All I've done for the last 16 years is raise kids. And I thought, how could you be any more qualified to be a girls basketball coach than 16 years of raising kids? But there's this feeling that that ship has sailed, right? That it's too late. And, then I started to verify it through research, to go out. And it was just this really, really common feeling that women had, that this ship has sailed. And and then I had an online group called Badass Permission Slip, where I took a bunch of women through a 6-week experience of how to kind of find their inner badass, how to step into their badass. And one of the things that I realized in the group, there were women of all ages, but the women over 40 were having a much different experience in Badass Permission Slip than the younger women. And the women over 40 had this feeling of regret, and the regret came from this underlying belief that it's too late for me. I could have done this, and I let it go by. And once I kind of redirected their thoughts, and it was like, well, wait a minute, you got 40 years, you can't do that? You can't write your book now. You can't travel the world now. You can't. Of course you can. This is
what the hell else you got going on?
Mindset shift, right? So I always tell women now, unless your big hairy dream is to be in the 1984 Olympics, it's not too late. So I think that it was a mindset shift for me, and that's what really kind of set me off, and this realization that this is prime time. This is the point where we know, we're exceptionally wise. Once that hormone shift starts happening, there are literally brain shifts in your brain that cause you to be more intuitive. There's a leaning toward unfinished business, right? Things in your life, relationships, or things that happened to you as a youth, or things that you need, that they're literally compelled to clean up. Most of us have better judgment than we did when we were younger. Most of us have a handle on relationships. We've been in all kinds of them. So we're in prime time. We are literally at the point in our lives where we are the wisest and the most powerful and the most ready to do whatever we want, if we can recognize that and not let it pass.